Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Box Seat. I'm Adam McGrath and we are taking a look at the 8 races that we are faced with at Ascot for this Wednesday's card. Let's take a look at the conditions that we will be faced with. At the moment, running on a good 3, the Moobil Rail is out 12 metres. There's a little bit of rain forecasted leading up into this card, so make sure you do check perthracing.com.au and also follow them on Twitter for more information regarding how that weather has affected the track, if it does affect it at all. Let's take a look at race number 1. It is over the 1,000 metres, and the replay that we're going to take a look at is Brisanto. At last start was very impressive win. It had been knocking on the door for a little while, and we'll take a look at that victory now.
Fashion Girl is next to Toomey, getting around the heels of Brisanto, finding a bit of room, and likewise coming into his Tycoon Legend with 150 to go. Brisanto is the leader. On the outside, Tucky's Lad and Jatumi, but Brisanto is holding them all at bay, and Brisanto wins it narrowly. Brisanto.
It was a nice win by Brisanto, and as I said, had been knocking on the door for a little while, this filly, as she'd run 2 places leading up to that, a 4th and then another 3rd. So she certainly had been consistent, and David Harrison's horses do go very well down the straight. 2 starts ago, she was beaten by War of Whispers down the straight at Pinjarra, which is also from the David Harrison stable and in this race as well. She meets War of Whispers 2 kilos better for only just going down narrowly in that race as well. So certainly a chance is number 7, Brisanto. Let's have a look at the other David Harrison runner in War of Whispers. There was a winner 2 starts ago, as I mentioned, at Pinjarra. Last start was just beaten by Extreme Dreams, which has been scratched from this race as well. Looked as though it was going to pick it up easily. Had just followed it into the race, but just couldn't quite get the head in front over the line. But this filly's certainly starting to improve from that first run we saw at Narrogin. Some of the other runners, I really like number 2, Le Patron here for Ben Pearce, Paul Harvey to ride. This galloper was a winner back at Belmont in August, then followed it up with some good runs behind Still the Light and Ros Martini as well. The recent trial was good against the older horses. It wasn't asked to do a lot and just sat there comfortably. And even though carrying the 59 kilos, I think this filly is certainly going to be very hard to beat on debut. And of course, War of Blossom, number 9 here for Dan Morton. Jason Brown to ride. Hasn't raced for a little while now and comes in without a trial, but has raced in some higher up races, including Group 3 events. So War of Blossom is one that you certainly can't ignore in this race. Let's take a look at the selections. I'm going to tip number 2, Le Patron, from number 9, War Blossom, number 5, Hidden Grace with a tongue tie going on, and number 6, War of Whispers. Race number 2, it is a maiden over the 1,200 metres. At the moment, we do have the 11 runners to take a look at. And one of the replays that we're going to analyse now is Tucky's Lad. We looked at Brisanto in the first race. There's some similar form lines around this. Tucky's Lad was actually beaten by Brisanto and then came out and put in a really good performance at Pinjarra last start. And that is the replay that we're going to take a look at now. Attacked the line strongly late.
Inside, Dayton's gone up in front of it. Outside of it though, and brushing with it is Sister Benny. Here's Patrimonio down the outside with a run as well at the 200, and on the outside Count Carla had reached the lead, but Patrimonio's closing the margin. Patrimonio goes up, hits the lead from Count Carla, Dayton, and followed further back Grinding Hard, but Patrimonio with a big first up win.
He's certainly improved with each run, just losing by a length there. The start before just lost by a short neck as well. Sean O'Donnell will take the ride with Peter Nucky just having a short break here, drawn nicely in barrier 5, and no doubt that he is going to be one of the major threats over this 1,200 metres. Outside of that, War God finally showed some better form again, still lost by 3 lengths to Extreme Dreams, but just looked much more settled in that run and was bumped at the 150 metre mark as well. Brad Parnham to ride, a little bit of a sticky gate in barrier 9. Hot Breezer for David Harrison is another galloper that should run on and attack the line strongly. He was beaten by Brisanto by 4 lengths last start, but I think the extra 200 metres will certainly suit. One horse I was really impressed with the recent trial was number 5, River Dancer. Sat back, we had to be pulled back by Patrick Carberry quite hard to the tail of the field, and then was just able to circle them nicely and run on strongly. And we saw Pat Carberry was able to win on Saturday with a horse that had come straight from a trial as well. And I've got a feeling that this one for Alan Matthews may be able to do the same. The gelding by Snitzel looks a very talented type, and it'll be one that I'll be watching, especially on the markets on course. Culverin for Fred Kersey is another galloper I think we definitely have to watch. There was just something about this horse when it raced at Belmont last campaign. It was beaten 2 lengths by Early Sun and then 8 lengths by Hot Goods. But with Randy Tan riding, will carry just the 52 kilos and looks one that can certainly just settle back in the field and attack the line strongly. Let's take a look at the selections, and I am going to go with number 2, Tucky's Lad, from number 8, Culverin, number 5, River Dance, and number 1, War God. Race number 3 at Ascot is another maiden over the 1200 metres, and there's some horses coming into this race in some pretty good form. Tycoon Legend was a really good run on debut. We saw Rhymes with Orange try well. Grinding Hard was a good performance at Pinjarra last start, and Canny Time on debut as well. Shuriken Stars, another galloper that's caught the eye, and then all the way down the bottom to Fermentation, which won a recent trial as well, quite comfortably with Lucy Warwick riding. The replay that we are going to take a look at is the last start galloper. It was a debut run for number 9, Canny Time from the Simon Miller stable. Lost by 3 lengths, but just did a few things right in this run, and we'll take a look at that performance now.
Valley, and then came Mater Remedy, followed by Belectric. War in Paris led them by the 250 from Canny Time, who's under a bit of pressure. 44 Red running on down the outside, but War in Paris had booted nicely clear down past the 100 from 44 Red. Canny Time, Stormy Night, and War in Paris is going to crack it at its third run in and brings up a double for the Price stable. Scored by...
She was beaten by a horse in form there in Warm Paris, but she just did a few things right. Drawn wide here, which doesn't help, but she does have the speed to be able to cross and get into a nice position. Outside of her, there's a few horses that I really like, and I mentioned Tycoon Legend. This gelding was on debut last start at Pinjarra and was well and truly back in the field, got bumped down the straight numerous times and still was able to attack the line strongly, losing to Brisanto by 1 length. So those form lines from Brisanto have gone through the first 3 races. Drawn nicely in barrier 8, I think the step up to the 1200 metres is ideal for this galloper. Rhymes with Orange was put under a lot of pressure in the trial, but was able to win by 1.5 lengths. The David Harrison stable is going along nicely. Drawn out wide though in barrier 15. Grinding Hard's a galloper I think that certainly get its chance in this race as well. Drawn nicely in barrier 2. Last start it just went down by under a length, and it was a really good run the way that it attacked the line strongly. Now this filly by Sebring as well, you'd think would improve with each run, and I just think it should be able to get into a nice spot from barrier 2 and again see that turn of foot that we saw at Pinjarra last start. Shuriken Stars the one that I'm really intrigued with, and again we see Fred Kersey going with the 3 kilo claim to Randy Tan, and that's worked with gallopers like Profound Effect and might work possibly in this card as well. Was only beaten 3 lengths by Peggy Sue, but attacked the line strongly, and with just the 52 kilos with a gate as well now in barrier 3, of a lot of time for this galloper in the race. And I'm also expecting number 11 Time Stream to improve. Last start just had no luck, had to be taken right back, and then had no clear galloping room over the final 150 metres. Drawn in barrier 1, will need a bit of luck at the top of the straight, but should get a much nicer run. Let's take a look at the selections. I'm going to go with number 10 Shuriken Star, from number 11 Time Stream, number 2 Tycoon Legend, and number 7 Grinding Hard. Race number 4 at Ascot, it's over the 1200 metres, is a 56 to 68, and there's a lot of classy horses in this race, but just at wrong times in their preparation. I really think this is a 2-horse race, and one of those horses I think will play a big part in this was the last start winner. I speak of Maginika. A very good run here for trainer Adam Durant. Joseph has a party to ride. Crossed from a wide gate in barrier 12, found the lead and was out of fight all the way late to win by a length. And we'll take a look at that performance now.
Brazilian Lady starting to track up near the inside for Warwick, and further back My Dirty Secret. Maginika reaches the lead at the 250, 2 in front of Reluctant Hero and 303. Further back is O'Murder, but it's Maginika down to the 150 clear, 2 in front of 303. Followed then on the outside by O'Murder. He keeps Maginika going though, and the Baldy Face Galloper 2 good wins it. Maginika beat 303.
Strong performance there all the way to the line by Maginika, having to do that early work to cross from barrier 12, and at that day at Pinjarra the horses ran on much easier, so this was a really good performance as a whole, and I think this is one of the main chances. Outside of that, I think the other major chance in the race is number 7 Red Paddy. Last start jumped from barrier 14, was forced to go back after being midfield, and then attacked the line strongly in the final 200 metres. Got home in a time of 34.6. Now Aaron Mitchell rides, who's in great form at the moment, so just the 55.5 kilos, and from barrier 14 we go to barrier 6 here for Red Paddy, so I think he's a massive chance in this race, and I think it's a race between those two. Outside of those gallopers, as I mentioned, there's a lot of class in the race, but just a few things going against them. Flying Image has to carry the 59 kilos, which is a big test. Long Overdue is drawn out wide. Magic Rocket carries 59 and is first up, so I prefer to watch it and get on later on in the campaign, as is Discoville, first up as well with the 58.5 kilos. So although there is some classy animals in the race, just not the right time for all of them. I really do believe it's a 2-horse race between Maginika and Red Paddy, and the selections are going to look like that. I'm going to tip number 7 Red Paddy on top. From number 5 Maginika, I think you can play that Quinella as well. From number 10 Smarty Wilson, and number 2 Long Overdue.